Keir Starmer, the Labour Party leader, is making waves in British politics once again. But this time, it's not about his stance on climate change, healthcare, or even the economy. No, it's about something far more fundamental, the very essence of Brexit itself. And according to critics, his latest move could undo years of hard-won freedom. The automotive industry, which had once been freed from EU shackles, is now set to fall back under EU rules. Is this the moment Brexit truly starts to unravel? Or is it just another political twist in an ongoing saga of promises and betrayals? Hello, and welcome to today's update. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support helps us continue bringing the latest news to the UK public, straight from the heart of British politics. Now, let's get into the story. In a development that's raised eyebrows across the nation, Keir Starmer's Labour Party is reportedly realigning with European Union rules on the automotive industry. This marks a dramatic shift from the promises made by the current government and its clear stance in 2024. Just before Starmer was poised to take power. At the heart of this change is an unexpected move by the Department for Transport, which now seems to be bowing to EU regulations in an area that had previously been untouched by Brussels. That's right. It appears that the UK's car industry, which had been freed from EU oversight after Brexit, may soon find itself back under EU rules. This, of course, comes as a massive blow to those who hoped that Brexit would pave the way for a more independent, self-governed Britain. Let's rewind. In 2024, under the government's direction, the Department for Transport issued a policy paper that made a bold promise. The motor industry would remain free from EU interference. The aim? To keep Britain's regulatory system agile, flexible, and ready to foster innovation, particularly in the automotive sector. The paper stated clearly, now that the UK has left the EU, we can rethink vehicle regulation. We have the freedom to create a system that meets the needs of manufacturers and consumers in the UK. But now, less than a year later, that vision is beginning to look increasingly uncertain. The government's recent decision to align UK regulations with the EU could not only stifle the opportunities Brexit had promised, but might also lead to higher prices for consumers. As Richard Tice, deputy leader of Reform UK, aptly put it, this move could be a total betrayal of Brexit. But it's not just Tice who's upset. Suella Braverman, former Home Secretary, has gone as far as to label it a phenomenal betrayal. She's pointing out that the decision is nothing less than a reversal of the freedoms that Brexit had promised. Instead of embracing a future where the UK is a rule-maker rather than a rule-taker, we are now seeing a situation where British manufacturers must align with EU standards. It's not just about principles. It's about people. Ordinary Brits who voted to leave the EU because they wanted more control over their laws, their markets, and their future. This latest move has them wondering whether their votes really mattered. Did they vote to regain independence? Or did they vote to exchange one form of control for another? The smoking gun came courtesy of the Secondary Legislation Scrutiny Committee, which reviews government policies like the one we're discussing today. When they asked for clarity on vehicle regulations, the Department for Transport confirmed that the government had now officially committed to aligning UK regulations with the EU. This decision was buried in a response to the House of Commons Secondary Legislation Scrutiny Committee, and it reveals that the government intends to maintain alignment with EU regulations. Why? To break down barriers to trade with our largest trading partner, In other words, this move is all about making it easier for the UK's automotive industry to sell vehicles across the EU. But there's a catch. By tying the UK's automotive regulations to the EU, the government could be setting a dangerous precedent, one that makes it harder to truly move away from EU control. This is especially concerning given the UK's history with Northern Ireland, a region that remains largely under EU jurisdiction despite Brexit. Now, you might be asking, what does this mean for me? For the average UK consumer? Well, the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders has some bad news. This decision could add thousands of pounds to the cost of a new vehicle. In fact, experts say that simply complying with 3 new sets of EU regulations could add up to £4,000 to the cost of a new car, particularly in Northern Ireland. This is a stark contrast to what we were promised by Brexit, a future where UK manufacturers could thrive, free from EU constraints and the costs that come with them. Let's take a moment to consider the size of the industry we're talking about. The UK's automotive sector is huge, contributing £93 billion to the economy in turnover, and generating £47 billion in trade annually. With 779,584 cars and over 1.5 million engines produced last year, this is an industry that directly impacts the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of people across the nation. This isn't just about cars. It's about the broader implications of what this policy shift could mean for the future of Brexit. As Jim Allister, leader of the traditional Unionist Voice Party, points out, the real issue is the division of the UK between those parts that remain aligned with EU rules, particularly Northern Ireland, and those that are trying to forge their own path. This creates a system where Great Britain could never fully escape the influence of Brussels. To paraphrase Allister, the only way for the UK to truly regain its full sovereignty is for the entire nation, including Northern Ireland, to leave the EU's influence behind. Without that, we'll continue to see the EU exert pressure on the UK, slowly chipping away at the independence that Brexit promised. So, what's next? Can Keir Starmer be trusted to stand by the promises of Brexit? Or is this just the beginning of a political shift that could reintroduce EU control into every aspect of British life? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe this move is a betrayal? Or do you think it's just necessary for trade? Either way, the road ahead is uncertain, and it's up to us to keep pushing for the future we voted for. Make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more in-depth political analysis. Together, we'll stay informed and make our voices heard.